Two women who escaped from Nazi Germany in the Second World War have discovered a new connection. Their separate family histories are told in pictures, stories, and documents. They come from a time when communities and countries were torn apart. The women first knew each other as neighbors in Chicago, but nearly 70 years later, they put missing pieces of their stories back together. Chip Reid shows us their remarkable reunion. Chip, good morning.
Well, good morning. Growing up in Chicago, they had lived on the same street, attended the same high school, even went to the same university. Now, all these decades later, they are finally discovering their true connection.
Can't believe this. Like, I've searched for years, and then here she is.
And there we were all the time.
And we were all the time. 6 degrees of separation.
I know. I mean, oh my goodness.
What, 2 blocks away?
Not even 2 blocks. In the late 1940s, Renate Wasserman and Beatrice Muchman lived just a few houses apart in Chicago.
What do you remember about her?
I remember that she was always smiling. She had curly hair, and she was very short.
They knew each other only in passing, not realizing they were connected in a way that would bring them together nearly a lifetime later. Renate and Beatrice were born the same year in Berlin, Germany.
I was born in '33, the year that Hitler came to power, and my parents were actually managing my grandfather's butcher shop, and it was closed within a few months. They couldn't work anymore.
Targeted for being Jewish, their rights taken away, Renate's terrified parents moved the family to Bulgaria and eventually to America.
We came over on the Queen Mary, and my father picked me up in New York and put me on his shoulders. And
you remember that?
That's like my first memory.
And I remember flames, and I remember running out with my father. I just knew my life as it existed was over.
Beatrice's family fled to Belgium. They tried but failed to find sanctuary in America.
My father took me on a train with my cousin. I thought I was going to summer camp.
Desperate to keep her safe, Beatrice's parents hid her in the countryside with a pair of Catholic sisters.
And they just became the most loving people, but we did not understand that we would never see our parents again. I had no idea.
Just 9 years old and feeling abandoned, she wrote her parents a letter.
Dear Daddy and Mommy, your little girl loves you with all her heart and wishes that we might someday be together again, Trixie.
Did you ever see your parents again after that?
No.
What she didn't know then was that her parents had tried to escape the Nazis. Her father was shot and killed. Her mother was sent to Auschwitz and was never heard from again. After the war, Beatrice made it to Chicago as her mother had hoped and was adopted by an aunt and uncle. This summer, nearly 70 years later, through Ancestry.com, Beatrice discovered a branch of family she never knew existed, including a familiar face.
How exactly are you related?
Okay. Our grandfathers were brothers.
Right.
Which makes them second cousins.
What does it mean to you to find out after all these years?
You know, the best thing was finding Renate. It's sad. I mean, that we spent a life so connected, and we would have loved each other. I can tell that.
Hi, how are you?
Now reunited and surrounded by their children, they hope their families will remain close for generations to come.
Do you feel a bond that is a
Yes.
family
I
thing?
do, very much so. But the fact that Trixie is a live person whom I knew as a kid and turned out to be my cousin, you know, I'm so in awe and admiring of you and who you are today.
I think we all sort of do what we have to do, seriously. And we take the real good things when we can get them. And this is a real good thing.
This is a very good thing today, right?
Beatrice Muchman, the one on the right in that last shot, wrote this book about her experience, Never to Be Forgotten, a young girl's Holocaust memoir, in which she says her parents almost escaped to America, but her father's name was misspelled in their exit documents, so their request was denied. In essence, her parents' last chance to escape the Nazis was crushed because of a typographical error.
Oh, what a story.
It was powerful.
heartbreak. What are these extended family reunions like?
Well, this was their first one.
Wow.
And we were there for it, and there was hardly there wasn't a dry eye in the house, including the
There are
crew
very few
that
out
was there to
here
shoot it.
as well.
It was
what a remarkable
powerful story, and they want this to go on for generations, this connection that they
And
have
the parents
finally.
died in a concentration camp?
Yeah, well, her father was shot trying to escape.
that's right,
It
you
was
supposed
one
to
of the
point, yeah.
only escapes that was
And the mother
really
died in
tried, and
Auschwitz.
then the mother was sent to Auschwitz and was never heard from again.
Thank you for that, Chip. Really appreciate it. That's terrific.